Hello and welcome. This is Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining me. For every day in November up until the 24th, we're opening up one of the windows of this special Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar. And today we're doing day number 21. So day number 21 is a die set and it creates this really cute layered square. I think this would be really cute for a card front to do, say, a quilt look or an upholstered look. Here I'm going to do 3 of these squares and line them up on the center of the card and then use one of the stamps from the previous day. So I die cut all of my pieces and die cut enough to do 3 of the squares. One tip for that green one that I did, there is an outer square and then there is that inner green piece. So you could do a negative die cut with it if you want. In order to get a nice even edge around or between the 2 dies, I like to use some die tape to hold them into place. Once I have everything cut, I know I want to have these centered on a piece of gold cardstock, and I'm also going to use that gold cardstock as a mat on my card front. And I also have some die cut for the centers of my flowers, so it's going to just tie everything in and pull it all in. So I measured my black square and then added however much I wanted for the mat around the outside, plus what I wanted for the mats between the 3 squares on the inside. And that's how I calculated the size of it and cut it for that. To make sure that those 3 squares are lined up and centered, I glue the 2 outer ones first, making sure that the outside mats are all nice and even. And then I glue that center one and evenly space it between the 2 squares and then between the mat. Once I'm done that, the rest of it's easy and it's just a matter of putting glue on the back of my die cut pieces and laying them on the place where they're supposed to go. So I'm using some Barely Art glue here. I have it in a really fine tipped bottle and it's a small bottle, so it's a little bit easier to hold and to control. I like the fine tips on there, especially for die cuts as tiny as these, because you can pick and choose exactly how much glue you want on there and you can have a lot of control with it. It's also really easy and convenient to use on my desktop like this. So while I'm putting the glue on the back, I'm using a pair of reverse grip tweezers to help hold that die cut. That way I can just squeeze it to let it go. And when I'm moving it around between my hands, I don't have to worry about it holding onto the die cut or letting it go. Because it's reverse grip, when I'm not holding onto it, it's holding onto that die cut. It just makes it nice and easy and convenient, especially when doing things like this. Now, what I've grown to love about that Barely Art glue is you don't need to use a lot and it really quickly starts to dry up, absorb into that paper and grip those die cuts. So you only have, I want to say 10, 15 seconds, and then it started gripping and you don't have to worry about that die cut moving around. I also love using liquid glues for card making simply because they tend to go a long way and I've never had a card fall apart on one that I've used a good quality liquid glue with. So as I'm assembling these and building them up, I absolutely love the look that they're giving, and I could see this being used in so many different ways. These tiny little flowers are not exactly completely symmetrical, so they're a little bit challenging to figure out exactly how they go on here, but this die cut is fairly forgiving. There's a few that I'm pretty sure were not the right way on there, but you don't really see it because the green underneath it looks like leaves and vines. Now, all of these calendars were sold out by the time I got mine, so you won't be able to get yourself this exact calendar unless you've already gotten one. But this is more for inspiration. You'll find in the description box similar alternatives and the supplies that I used to create this one here. I love layering dies like this and things that are really easy to build. And because of the size of them, they're really great for using up cardstock scrap. This would be a great project to just grab a bunch of scraps, die cut a whole bunch of them, and then sit in front of the TV watching a movie or something and layering all the pieces together so that you have them ready to go. And the sky's the limit when it comes to color choices, but this design, I could see it used in so many different color palettes. So for the front of my card, I'm using this thank you stamp from a couple days ago. I'm just using it with my Misti and stamping it a few times. I did lay out my card ahead of time so that I knew exactly where I wanted that stamp to go. And I am going to stamp it a couple times to make sure I get a nice, clear, crisp image out of it. Once I have that stamped, I'm ready to assemble the rest of my card. I definitely wanted to stamp it ahead of time, just at the off chance that something happened, something misstamped or whatnot. It's very easy to replace a layer before it's assembled. Once everything's glued together, not so easy. So you can see that I have that gold matte below the part where I stamped my sentiment and where my die cut piece is going to be. And that is the same gold cardstock that I used for that backing part, as well as the centers of those small flowers, as well as the medium flowers. This is a great, simple, and easy card. The only thing that takes the time really is the die cutting of the little pieces. That thank you stamp has a few smaller sentiments in it that could easily be stamped on the inside of the card. I love this die set. I think it could be used year-round. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you tomorrow for day 22.